Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day, it will brighten all the way. If you keep on the sunny side of life. This is my commandment, that you love one another, that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another, that your joy may be full. That your joy may be full. That your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another, that your joy may be full. You know, love involves respect. And respect seems to be a hard thing these days. Someone one time said to me that respect is a behavior, not a feeling. Respect is a behavior, not a feeling. It seems like with all of the stress and the tension of this, no matter how this crisis is affecting you, and whether it's your job or whether it's your kids or whether it's in your marriage, it seems like respect is a critical thing for all of us. It may be that at home there's a lack of respect. There seems to be, maybe with the kids toward you, or maybe in your marriage, or you feel disrespected, or maybe there's other people are feeling disrespected. There seems to be definitely a lack of respect all the way across on all sides in the political world. People seem to just lose all perspective about respect when it comes to that. And sometimes even on Facebook, maybe it's because we're just we feel like it's kind of like our avatar out there. We can say and do things that we would never do when we're looking at somebody face to face and eye to eye. There just seems to be this huge lack of respect toward one another. As a matter of fact, people are saying things about, I wrote this down, people are saying things they can't know about people they don't know, and God says that's a big no-no. A lack of respect. The word respect in the Hebrew, in the Old Testament, means to have reverence, or even, especially when it comes toward God, to fear God, to have this great respect for Him, to value Him. As a matter of fact, in the Greek, it says reverence. In Matthew, it says, in Matthew 21:37, but afterward He sent His Son to them, saying, they will respect my Son. Jesus was making an illustration that God the Father sending His Son, they'll respect Him. But of course, you know what happened. The Bible uses the word honor the most. This is a common term throughout the Bible because that was an honor or respect, honor, shame society. As a matter of fact, Proverbs 20:29 says, the glory of young men is their strength, right? And the honor of old men is their gray hair. So Pastor Mike and I definitely have got some honor going. It's the honor of old men is their gray hair. Danny's got it too, so he deserves some honor. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about this more and more on the weekend when we get toward Mother's Day, but It says in Exodus 20:12, honor your father and your mother, that your days may be prolonged in the land which the Lord your God gives you. The idea in that passage means when you honor someone, you're giving weight or value. The word has the idea of putting weight on it. Like, oh, you honor this. As a matter of fact, Leviticus actually takes it a step further. The word honor comes from the Hebrew word to swell up or to make large or to enlarge. Leviticus chapter 19:32 says, you shall rise up before the gray-headed and honor the aged, and you shall revere your God. I am the Lord. This is the idea that we ought to treat, especially elders, with this incredible amount of respect or honor, and that's really greatly been lost, especially among us. For those of you that are believers and claim to be believers, this should be right in the center of all your dealings, whether it's at home or at work or whether it's on Facebook, this issue of respect or honor toward other people. You know, we really have to enter into a combat mode against the evil of disrespect, the evil of dishonor. And you have to start with yourself. You can't say, I'm not going to take this off of people. That's not how you handle it. You have to start by being that person who practices honoring and respect. You know, I've been wondering myself, when did disagreeing with other people, disagreeing with somebody about anything, doesn't matter whether it's about chores at home or whether it's about politics, when did disagreeing about anything mean it was okay to slander that person, say things that you can't know whether they're true, repeat them with the intent of tearing them down, or gossip, or name-calling, or belittling other people and talking down to them, or being cruel toward other people? When did disagreeing make it okay to be cruel and make it okay to name-call, to be cutting, to do Facebook battle, and even in some cases where people mock and scream under the guise of freedom, they're mocking and screaming and acting in a way, it's total disrespect for other people. You know, I get stuff a lot. I see stuff, you know, I see what people put up, and there's all kinds of stuff that you could never know is true, that's just being passed around. By the way, if you pass something around and you don't know it's true, you're a part of a slander. You're a part of a rumor. As a matter of fact, all these conspiracy theories, all of these ideas that are going around that we're not really qualified, we don't really know. I don't know whether they, you know, I see things, people put stuff up, and my first question is, how could they know that? And how could the person that is saying that know that? And if they can't, then I have to really question, why are we being a part of this? Honor requires a scrupulous kind of honesty. It really does. You know, Jesus linked honor with loving your neighbor. As a matter of fact, in Matthew 19:19, he says, honor your father and your mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. He put these all as a big picture. You love your neighbor as yourself. You honor your mother and your father, but you ought to honor God by loving your neighbor as yourself. Romans 12:10 says, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Remember what we started to sing about? Give preference to one another in honor. Give honor to them. As a matter of fact, Romans 13:7, when it talks about leaders, and by the way, they're leaders. You think your leaders, you complain about your leaders, you think they're bad? This was Rome he was talking about. Render to all what is due them. Tax to whom tax is due. Custom to whom custom. Fear to whom fear. Honor to whom honor. He was saying there is a way of dealing with people. You know, this is the idea of honor in these passages in Romans. It means to give the highest degree of dignity to somebody, to treat them with the highest degree of dignity. I know what you're thinking. You may ask the question, and we'll come to it, and we'll talk about it in my Zoom class tomorrow night. How do you do that? Well, let me say how you don't do it. Anyone who uses put-down humor, I don't care whether you're a politician, a pastor, or whoever, if you use put-down humor or in some way treat anyone in a way that diminishes their dignity, you're just being like a child. That's not good behavior. We have to rise above this in this day. You know, people who disrespect others and call it joking yet don't yet understand Christ's way of valuing people. Respect. We have to always consider that. Does this build them up? Remember we talked about stop complaining, start encouraging. Does it build them up? There's a lot of people that'll go along with jokes and little digs and you know, even mocking. They'll go along with it just because they're good sports. And we've learned down through the years that, you know, you just don't react to it. Otherwise, it just encourages it. But you know something? People who disrespect others and call it joking don't yet understand this issue of honor and respect. Just because you think something is funny, and maybe it has some humor to it, doesn't mean you should say it. And doesn't mean you should do it. You have to always come back to the default that says, does this give them the ultimate dignity? Is it honoring? Is it dignifying? And I know, I wonder too. What about people who aren't very honorable? What about people who aren't respectable? What about them? Well, just remember, respect or honor is a behavior, not a feeling. It's the way you act, not the way they act. It's the way you respond, not the way that you respond. It's not based on what they do. If they never do anything, you still treat them with a level of honor. Acting with careful respect toward women, our children, or even leaders that you may not agree with, or family members that maybe they've had a tough time, maybe they've blown it at some point, with friends or co-workers, people that are different than you, have a different ethnic background, or people who you disagree with, or maybe people that have even criticized you. Jesus says you love your enemies, not dishonor them. All of these things are critical, central to your witness. Now, we all blow it. I know I have many times. We're all sometimes have blind spots. But this issue of respect, especially in times like this, is so important. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's poor people, or people who are disabled, or people who struggle with certain habits, weak people, sick people. As a matter of fact, all of creation we're to treat with a certain level of sacred respect. God made them, so we ought to treat it with respect. You know, there is a kingdom truth that goes like this. It asks the question, is anyone better than anyone else? No. There's only one perfect person, that's Jesus. The ground is level, as the old saying goes. The ground is all level around the cross. You know, in the garden at the very beginning, there was just God and people, man and woman. There was just God and no one else except for those people. There was no higher ups. There was no lower downs. You see, there was just God and everyone else. We are all equals before God. As a matter of fact, so much of what people quote, but oftentimes don't promote, is all men were created equal and endowed with their behavior. Or with, I'm sorry, they should be in their behavior, but endowed by their Creator. You see, this is this underlying kingdom principle. Now, we don't practice this idea very much, but it is beautiful. But when it comes to the gospel, when it comes to the real essence of Christianity, we are to be equals before God. And so I have to listen to you. I have to treat you with respect, even when sometimes you're not very respectable. You see, when you dishonor other people, you dishonor their Maker. When you dishonor what God has made, you dishonor God. You know, when you dishonor other people through disrespecting them, whether they're there or not, when you talk about them or when you write about them or you post about them, what you're doing is you are functioning as though you are better. And I want to tell you something. It might be hard to know. You are not. You are not better. You're different, but you're not better. You know, when you honor God, you will honor other people. And when you honor all that God has made, when you honor all that God has made, you honor the God that made them. Respect. This Sunday, we're going to talk about, it's Mother's Day, right? So we'll talk a little more about honor, about how to really move aside from this and really practice this, especially in terms toward our parents and especially moms. You know, if this was helpful to you in any way, you think, boy, my kids need to watch this. If this was convicting to you, share it. Convicted me to think about this idea of respect, of treating people with the ultimate dignity. Jesus did. Jesus saw a demon-possessed man, and he said he saw a man there, and everybody else. When the Samaritans, Jesus went to the Samaritans, his disciples wanted to call down fire. Jesus said, oh, I've got something to do here. He needs be goes through Samaria. You see, honor and respect. When you honor what God has made, when you respect what God has made, when you give it the dignity, you honor God. Remember, he said, oh, I got a little plant right there. Got too much foliage out here. This is my commandment, that ye love one another, that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another, that your joy may be full. That your joy may be full. That your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that ye love one another, that your joy may be full. Jesus says you love people by honoring them and respecting them. Please sign up for my Zoom class tomorrow night, and please respond to this. We're going to ask some questions, like especially about how do I honor people in different situations where they don't seem very honorable. We'll talk more about it.